Okay, let me know in the chat room if you can hear the sound of my voice. Let me know. So I was fooling with the audio a minute ago, so I just want to make sure. Let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Just put a quick comment in the chat room that you can hear me okay. Let me know if the audio is good. Okay, good. All right. Excellent. Let's get started. Because we got a lot more to talk about than usual, actually. Okay. We got a bunch of new shows that happened this week. Also, there was a new Daredevil Season 2 trailer that came out a couple days ago. If you want to ask me about that, feel free. Also, we're going to talk about Deadpool just for a minute, because I know people are probably going to ask about that. So let's just get that out of the way now. But for the record, I know there's some new people have been joining us recently. So I'm just going to reiterate how I like to do things here. The way this works is I go topic by topic or show by show, give my thoughts on each one, then we do comments and questions in the chat room about that particular show. And then we try to stay on topic as much as possible. And then we go to the next show, and we talk about that one. And then the next. And then after we do all the shows, after we get through all the shows, then we can talk about anything else you guys want to talk about. Wrestling, whatever. So, if you want to ask me about something else that's not comic show related, fine. But please wait until the end so I don't get mixed up, because, you know, the chat room does pile up pretty quickly. So, that's how that works. And let's get started here. Alright, so I saw Deadpool last weekend. Really enjoyed it. I think it was very nice of Fox to basically admit that they fucked up with that previous iteration of Deadpool that let's just not talk about from Wolverine Origins, because that was, wow, that was bad. But yeah, I mean, this was probably about as faithful as you could possibly make it. I mean, kudos to Ryan Reynolds and Blur Studios, who really fought to make this movie the right way. I mean, I've seen interviews with Reynolds saying it took him 10 years. Like something like 6 years to convince the studio to make the movie, and another 4 years to get it done. Wow. That is dedication. It paid off. It paid off great, not just in box office, because holy shit. I think Marvel's got a new cash cow with this franchise, but it's a good movie too. I love that it was R-rated. They didn't like neuter it or cut its balls off. No, there's cussing, there's violence, there's nudity and sex and stuff. It feels like what Deadpool should be. Nah, fuck that PG-13 bullshit. There's a petition out there for people who want them to make a PG-13 cut. How? First of all, no, they shouldn't make a fucking PG-13 cut. I don't know how the hell they do that. The movie would be 5 minutes long if they cut out all the R-rated stuff. Second, have you read the Deadpool comics? This is an R-rated character, okay? This is how Deadpool should be made, and they earn that fucking R rating, and it's great. The humor was great. I would say a good 90% of the jokes land. It's a funny movie. I love that they made fun of the former Deadpool. But yeah, there's some really great laughs here. Like when, spoiler alert. There's gonna be spoilers for Deadpool in here. Okay, so if you don't want to hear spoilers, hit the mute button right now. But when Deadpool punches Colossus in the balls and breaks his hand. Oh God. There's tons of great laughs in this movie. So yeah, it's the action is really good. The comedy is good. You can tell they were fighting against a limited budget, but man, they made the most of it. There was a lot of really good stuff here. I did have a couple issues, like the villains were pretty just one-dimensional. Didn't really, they were pretty much just there because you needed a muahaha for the movie to work. They're fine for what they had to do, but it's completely, completely one-dimensional villains. But I think what bugged me the most is I was hoping for more of a change after he got his powers. I'm not a big Deadpool guy. I'm not incredibly familiar with the character, but I was always under the impression that the process of becoming Deadpool is what drove him nuts. So I was kind of hoping that he would have been different prior to that. But when we meet him, he's still a normal dude. He's pretty much already he's got the Deadpool personality for the most part. He's always joking around, kind of breaking the fourth wall. And maybe he's not completely out of, like, batshit crazy out of his mind, but his personality is pretty much intact. Then he becomes Deadpool, and he doesn't really seem any different. He just looks different. I was kind of hoping that he'd be more of a normal guy, personality-wise, and in the process of becoming Deadpool, he just completely loses it and goes nuts, and that's what does it to him. But no, there doesn't seem to be much of a transition there. The only transition is in what he looks like, really. So that kind of bothered me a little bit. I was hoping for like more of a change in, pre-mutation to post-mutation. But that was kind of my only major gripe. I'm not sure why they had to put Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead in there. That seemed kind of a... If I had to guess, I would say maybe that was a studio note, like, we want you to put some X-Men characters in there, or something, because it seemed like they didn't really serve much of a purpose. They were just there to fight stuff. But, whatever. They weren't hurting anybody. But yeah, maybe not entirely perfect, but this was such a faithful adaptation of the character. They got it right. They got his origin more or less right. I mean, they didn't say Weapon X or anything, but it's basically what it was. The character worked. The humor worked. I think fans of the character are going to be very, very happy with Deadpool. I know Angry Joe was fucking thrilled with it, and he loves Deadpool. So it's a really good movie. I think everybody should go out and watch this movie and support it, because this was the movie the fans wanted, the movie the fans made happen, because the studio did not want to make this movie, but then that test footage leaked, and all the fans were raving about it, and then they were said, okay, maybe you can make the movie after all. So everybody go out and support the movie and show the studio that, hey, when you give the fans what they want and make the movie that the fans want, you're going to make a lot of money. Because this is a faithful adaptation of the comics, and it's so much better than that bullshit in Wolverine Origins. So those are my thoughts on Deadpool. Really good movie, thumbs up, go see it. And with that out of the way, let's get to Legends of Tomorrow, which aired its 5th episode a little over an hour ago, Failsafe. Professor Stein is being held captive in a Russian prison, and the team has to get him out or kill him before the Soviets learn how to create their own firestorm and take over the world. They do get their people out, but not without a whole lot of collateral damage, not to mention causing their second nuclear detonation in 5 episodes. Wow. But that's nothing to worry about. I'm sure that setting off a nuke in Soviet Russia during the Cold War won't cause a ripple effect or anything. Alright, we're 5 episodes in, and I think I can safely say that this show is a complete fucking mess. A complete, unadulterated fucking train wreck. The amount of plot holes and stupid shit going on here is absolutely astounding to me. Case in point, Ray Palmer in prison. Hi, my name's Ray. We're looking for our friend. Do you know where he is? Can you help us? How did this guy get to be the head of a multinational corporation? Are they trying to make him look as idiotic as possible? I know he's supposed to be the wide-eyed, naive one on the team, but Jesus Christ, dude. You're in a Russian gulag with stone-cold killers. This isn't fucking summer camp. Oh my God. I swear I wanted to smack this guy in the face. Now's not the time to be joking around like everything's hunky-dory, you idiot. Jesus Christ. Let's get serious here. Oh my God. Heatwave actually looked like the smart one of the two of them in this situation. Oh, Christ. But, believe it or not, that does not even compare to the biggest offender this week. Once again, they come face-to-face with Vandal Savage. Okay? Rip Hunter has him at gunpoint. Has a gun to his head. Alright? None of Savage's minions are there to bail him out. No one. There's no help coming for him. He's helpless. Kendra, Hawkgirl, is right there with Rip. Just a few minutes prior to this, they mentioned once again that Kendra is the only one who can kill Savage by stabbing him with the magic knife. That'll kill him. If she stabs him with this knife, that kills him. And she's the only one who can do this. And now she's there with Rip as they have Savage at gunpoint. So all she has to do here is stab him with the magic knife now. They have him right there. He's helpless. You can stab him right there. He can't fight back. You got a gun on him. She could stab him with a knife and end it there. Okay? So why doesn't she stab him with the magic knife? Surely she must have brought the knife with her in case they ran into Savage. They knew this was his facility. He was probably in the building. But no. Not only does she not try to stab him with the magic knife, they don't even bring it up as a possibility. Instead, they literally just walk away. These characters are the biggest idiots on television. That is not a claim I make lightly when they're sharing a network with Barry Allen, but by God, it's the fucking truth. The biggest idiots on television. There is no fucking excuse for them acting like this. They have now had Vandal Savage dead to rights, absolutely fucking helpless, on not one, but 2 occasions. Giving them the perfect, I repeat, perfect opportunity to kill him and stop this whole thing, to complete their mission, to save the timeline, to save the world from being taken over by this despotic madman. The perfect opportunity to accomplish their mission. And both times, they have just walked away without so much as an explanation for why they're leaving him alive. I could stop the review here. I don't want to talk about this show anymore. I feel stupider every time I watch it, and they do shit like this. Seriously, how did this get past the writer's room? How did this make it to air? Were these writers smoking crack when they churned this thing out? I don't want to watch it anymore. The only reason I'm still watching it is because I'm reviewing it for this. The frustrating thing about it here is that other parts do show signs of improvement, really. As retarded as Ray Palmer was acting, they did manage to develop a little bit of a connection with him and Heatwave that felt more or less organic. I liked the conflict with Sarah's instincts, telling her to kill Stein, feeling like she has to do it, but not wanting to because humanity and all that stuff. Jax getting a big hero moment at the end was nice, and the issues with him and Stein were well handled. So the team is starting to come together a little bit. They're slowly learning to work together despite their best efforts not to, and despite their own crippling idiocy a lot of the time. So some things are actually getting better, but it's mainly the character development issues. The larger plot holes are what really ruin this thing. I've lost track of how many people they've killed, wiping all those people's descendants out of existence in the process. All the shit they've stirred up in the past. They've crippled the Pentagon, set off 2 nukes, and blown up a Russian prison during the Cold War. Even if their mission is a success, how are we supposed to believe that all the things they've done due to their own incompetence are not going to radically alter the timeline and completely fuck up the world just as much as Savage is supposed to in the future? You really could make an argument that they are causing more damage than Vandal Savage is, and the world might very well have been better off if they had just not gotten involved at all. Forget about Vandal Savage, okay? Right now, this team is the bull, and the timeline is the china shop. And the most unforgivable thing about this is the fact that no one has even brought this up. Not one character has even mentioned that, hey, if we change something about the past, like, killing someone or nuking something, that might change the future in ways that could have horrible ramifications. That is a huge issue that any self-respecting story about time travel should be aware of, but they don't even care. It's not even on the agenda for the writers to address this, apparently. Oh, sure, if Vandal Savage changes something about the timeline, it's the end of everything. The Soviets will conquer America. But if our heroes go around killing people, bringing down critical government installations, blowing up buildings and whatnot, that's perfectly all right. That won't affect the future at all, because they're the good guys and apparently the rules just don't apply to them. I really just want to sit these fuckers down and make them watch Back to the Future and the Butterfly Effect. To try to drill some sense into them. Because perhaps more than anything else, sense is something that is very sorely lacking on this show. And those are my thoughts on LoT. Let's see. I wish these were on Thursdays. Watching this and How to Get Away with Murder at the same time is really difficult. Sorry. Thursdays just work the best for me right now. Thoughts on the Cable reveal. Well, there was no Cable reveal. They had a jokey stinger saying where Deadpool says that Cable is going to be in the sequel. Which they would not have known because they didn't get the sequel greenlighted before the movie came out. I have mixed feelings. If they're going to do Cable, I don't think his first appearance should be in the Deadpool sequel. I think it should be in X-Force. Because hey, look, if they're going to do Cable in a Deadpool sequel, he's going to be used for comic effect. He's going to be the straight man to Deadpool. And I think we should introduce Cable on his own before having him be a comedic foil, you know? No, do X-Force first. Once you do X-Force, then you can put Cable and Deadpool too. Who should Deadpool cross over with if the studios played nice? Well, the studios aren't going to play nice. Fox isn't getting, Marvel isn't getting the rights to the X-Men back. That's pretty clear. So I don't think there's any point in answering that. It's just, it's just pointless. I expect we're going to see Deadpool in a lot more X-Men projects because Hugh Jackman's saying that the last Wolverine movie is going to be the last time he plays the character. So my guess is Fox is going to want Deadpool to be like their new Wolverine, so they're going to pimp him in every X-Men project from now on, most likely. I'm not looking forward to that. I would prefer Deadpool kind of be his own thing. I agree with Doug. I assume you mean Doug Walker. Deadpool is good, but overrated. I'm kind of in that boat. I mean, it was a very entertaining movie. I wasn't like shitting my pants in love with it because again, I'm not really like a big Deadpool fan. I like him, but he's just not really my cup of tea. But I mean, if you're a Deadpool fan, you probably love this movie. For people like me who are more casual viewers of the character, it's like, hey, you know what? That was a really fun movie. That's a good movie. I liked it. I'm just not, oh my god, this is the greatest movie ever, you guys. I'm not like that. Love how they didn't hold anything back in Deadpool. Oh, absolutely. They earned that hard R rating. And that was refreshing. And I'm so glad the results have been good. And it's making a shit ton of money, so that'll tell the studio, hey, we can. There's still money to be made in R-rated movies. Absolutely. I'm glad to see some Rob Liefeld characters on the big screen. High fives all around 90s kids. I'm really glad it's R-rated like Deadpool and Edge always should be. Okay, your admiration of Rob Liefeld confuses me and disturbs me. Maybe I've watched a few too many Linkara videos, but Rob Liefeld, dude, really? To each their own, I guess. Brackapool got owned. Making fun of Green Lantern was awesome. Yeah, that was funny. I like the end credits moment. Yeah, the stinger was funny too. Should Deadpool go after the WWE and TNA creative team? I don't see why. I don't see any connections to Deadpool and professional wrestling. It would be nice to see him make some jokes about that, though. I mean, they've given him plenty of ammunition. I liked Blade Arms Deadpool, his look anyway. Okay. I don't even know what to say to that. To each their own, I guess. It has made double its money back. Yeah, I think it had like a budget of something like 60 million, 50, 60 million, something like that, and it made like 130 something in its first weekend. So, yeah, Marvel's pretty happy right now. Not Marvel, Fox is, excuse me. I hope the movie makers don't go crazy with the R superhero movies now. It works for Deadpool comedy movie and Jessica Jones TV, but don't do it for everything. Oh, no, not for everything. I do hope it opens the door for other R-rated comic book projects. Because there's plenty of projects of like mature readers titles that would work if they were rated R, but you feel like the studio would probably have the urge to make them more kid-friendly, to get the PG-13 rating, and to kind of sanitize everything. And maybe this will show them that they don't have to do that because there's an audience for the R-rated content. And those kind of movies can still make money. Yeah, I can't think. No titles are springing to mind right now, but I'm sure there's plenty of mature content, books out there that would make great R-rated movies. I don't know the Arrow comics. Who the black guy in the suit, Diggs' future son, maybe? Who knows? Might be just some new character they made up. I think the Black Arrow guy is supposed to be Connor Hawke, which means yet again they randomly made a character into a token black guy. I mean, who knows? That could be anybody. Really, I'm not going to assume that he's a comic book character until we at least find out what his name is. And I totally agree with you. I pretty much lost track of the show. Yeah, LoT is kind of a hot mess, isn't it? So I want to see Deadpool next week on my birthday. Looking forward to it. Okay? Think you'll enjoy yourself. Deadpool would own the entire LoT crew. Oh, absolutely. They'd all be dead. Every single one of them would be fucking dead. I thought Ray was doing it just to be a smartass. Well, you can't say smartass without smart. And that is most definitely something that he was not being in that situation. When Heatwave looks smarter than Ray Palmer on the show, then we have problems. Yeah, pretty much. That situation called for street smarts. That's something that Ray Palmer does not have. LoT has gone so far off the rails, I'm ready to call it non-canon for the Arrowverse. I think you have to. I mean, they already kind of fucked up the time travel logic. Is it linear? Is it a multiverse? Who the hell knows? It's whatever the plot wants it to be at this point. Yeah, so I'm totally ready to just write it off as a separate thing. Because I don't know how the hell this is going to tie in continuity-wise into the Arrowverse at this point. Flash and Arrow, whatever mistakes they make, have tight continuity at least. This is insane. That is putting it lightly. All Rip had to do was shoot Savage and stab him while he was down. A gun does nothing to kill him, but it will incapacitate him for hours. I know! Exactly! That's all they had to do! You had a gun on him, dude, shoot him in the fucking head, then let Kendra stab his corpse before he heals himself. I mean, the fact that they didn't try it is bad enough. They didn't even bring it up as a possibility. They literally just walked away. Wait. They didn't even try fighting him, really. What the it's just... It boggles my mind that this show has been getting good reviews. This show is fucking asinine. These characters are... I want to smack them all in the head. Most of the time. It's inexcusable. The gaps in logic that they expect us to take to enjoy this show. It's fucking inexcusable. I don't know how you could possibly justify it. Okay, TKO Rising apparently agrees with me, I hope. Clap, clap, clap. All right, thank you. More than enough time to kill him, but no. Instead, let's just set off a nuke or three and call it a day. That is pretty much their mindset. I mean, you're being sarcastic here, but that's pretty much exactly what happened. Ugh. I'm frankly stunned that they felt nothing about the hundreds of innocent political prisoners they killed in that explosion. Most of the gulags were just dumping grounds for people who rebelled against the Soviet government, not exactly hardened Russian mob assassins. But oops, we just vaporized them by the hundreds, wiping out their bloodlines and changing history. Thanks, legends. Now I have to remember a whole new set of Persian emperors. I'm also laughing my ass off at the idea of firing a missile at something inside a wormhole and somehow, some way knocking it out of said wormhole. Nothing works that way, at least of all wormholes. I agree. But once again, this is a universe where moving at Mach 2 means that you can time travel. So they're just making this shit up, really. Emergency Awesome, of all people, love giving these shows like LoT, Gotham, and Arrow a thumbs up. Oh, man. Yeah, that hurt. I normally like Charlie's videos a lot, but when he gave... The first time they left Savage alive and didn't kill him, when they easily could have, that episode, he gave that episode a good review. I haven't been able to watch his videos since. I had to walk away from the computer. I got so frustrated by this. Just, how could you possibly give that episode a good review? That episode was bullshit. Absolute fucking bullshit. I don't get it. I don't know how you could possibly enjoy that shit. But no, he gave that episode a good review. So apparently he really likes Legends of Tomorrow. I don't know why. This show is a fucking mess. Hey, normally I like Charlie's videos a lot, but man, I don't even know what to say to that. Okay, Deluxe Man wanted to ask me thoughts on Daniel Bryan's retirement to Titus O'Neil's suspension. Okay, I will tell you what. Remind me after we finish all the shows. I'll get to those afterwards. Okay. Yeah, because I haven't really talked about that yet. I love Linkara, but he's too couched in those old Silver Age comics to make a proper assessment of anything made after 1975. Well, I don't know. His assessments of Rob Liefeld and Frank Miller seem more or less on the money. I mean, for instance, he thinks Batman fights terrorists is silly, but he has no problem with Lois Lane going back in time to rape Jor-El so she can give birth to Kal-El and have him all to herself. What? When did that happen? Well, that's... I don't... Well, one is comic book insanity from the Silver Age. The other is kind of ruining a classic character by having him do things that he would never do. And I don't think Batman fighting terrorists is wrong, but probably the manner in which he did it was messed up. In Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Marvel fan page group on Facebook that I'm a member of, I saw someone jokingly suggest Scott Steiner to play Cable in Deadpool 2. Scott Steiner? Play Deadpool? No. No, Stephen Lang will be fine. We don't need Scott Steiner. No, that would be bad casting. No, Stephen Lang for Cable, please. What Marvel or DC character would you like to see fight Deadpool in a fantasy death match? Other than Deathstroke. I think Captain America, maybe. Because he's supposed to be like the big Boy Scout virtuous character, and Deadpool's like the give no fucks, kill them all and let God sort of guy. I think that would make a good conflicting and interesting mix of conflicting ideologies there. Deadpool, Batman, same thing. Something I noticed in the Endgame, Rip Hunter outright says they're in 2046, yet they still see the Arrow and think he's Oliver. Yeah, Oliver would be about 80 years old-ish at that point. It's probably not him, you guys. I guess they were stupid enough to think a 70-year-old Oliver would still be the Arrow. Who knows? Comic book logic, remember? I'm guessing the show has been getting good reviews because of the character interaction. Enjoying the show requires one to basically either ignore the plot or laugh at it. Yeah, I don't like doing either. It's basically, you're basically saying to enjoy the show, you have to turn your brain off. And that, to me, is the hallmark of a very bad show. Yeah, like Steven Universe. Okay. Zach, here's... This kind of starting guy gets wrong. Deadpool is the crazy one. Cable's the same one. Alright. Luke and Stone. Yeah, I know, but it was just a joke suggestion anyway. Kind of funny to think about it, though. Alright. Also, I'm totally in the position where I'm starting to think the show would make more sense if it turned out somebody pulled a Thawne on Rip Hunter and he's part of a long con with Savage. That would actually make a weird kind of sense. It would probably explain why Rip Hunter seems to be such a terrible leader. I could see that happening. Out of the 9 DC Marvel shows, LoT is the only one with a rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. Is it really? I'll have to check that out. I honestly think this show takes place in an alternate timeline at this point. It must, because in this timeline, multiple nukes have been set off with no ill effects. Alright, well, to be fair, Jax did absorb the first one, so I think we could probably write that one off. But yeah, there's no excuse for that second one. That's going to cause a ripple effect. And it doesn't seem like that's what they're concerned with. Maybe even Eobard himself. I mean, Thawne knows enough about the future to know that there are centuries ahead after 2016. The whole idea that Savage's reign marks the end of the world would have been questioned from the jump. Yeah, pretty much. Actually, how the hell did Savage get an army between now and the 22nd century? That's a good question. I mean, that would actually make a good twist. I think something like it happened in the comics, too. You know, I'm still totally in favor of the big twist being that Savage acquires that army and is able to take over the future directly because of all the ways that this team has fucked up the timeline. And, like, it's all, like, dramatic irony, because if they just stayed the fuck out of it, none of that would have ever happened. I think that would make a really clever twist, actually. Okay, that is it for LoT. If there's anything else you want to ask about LoT, you can ask it at the end, but now we're moving on to The Flash. Season 2, Episode 14, Escape from Earth 2. Zoom captures Barry and holds him hostage on Earth 2, so Cisco and Harry have to figure out how to save him. Meanwhile, on Earth 1, Caitlin has to perfect Velocity 9 so she can repower Jay Garrick so he can deal with Geomancer, who she ends up taking out herself, ironically. And also, they have to fix the dimensional portal, which has broken down. So for the first half hour, this episode... For the first half hour, this episode really had me. The plot was interesting. The story was fun. The characters were all acting logically. Nobody was doing anything stupid. Not even Barry, surprisingly enough. I was actually into this thing where him and Jesse have to use their brains to figure out what the man in the Iron Mask is trying to tell them. I mean, sure, there was a much easier way to do it. Just ask him simple yes-no questions that he can answer with 1 tap for yes, 2 taps for no. But I could excuse that because the way they went about it also required some thought. And it seemed like they were genuinely trying to logic this out like thinking, intelligent people. Really, the only thing that bugged me here was the stuff with Iris and her new editor at the paper, who, for some reason, is supposed to be this complete asshole for putting the kibosh on the puff piece on the Flash that she's writing, because instead he wants objective journalism. Wow. The balls on this guy. Demanding that Iris report the news rather than her opinion? What a dick, right? So I didn't care for that part. But that was really it. Aside from that, everything here was shaping up quite well. But then it all reverts to form, and I'm reminded of what show I'm watching as the stupid starts to pile up. First, there's Jay, who gets repowered by the Velocity 9 drug, goes out to save a bunch of people with his restored powers, and then proceeds to stop and pretty much pose for the crowd right after saving a whole bunch of people without wearing a mask. Now, maybe on Earth 2, secret identities aren't really a thing, but here on Earth 1, if anybody managed to snap a picture of Jay with their phone, he may have just caused a lot of trouble for his Earth 1 counterpart, Hunter Zolomon. You know, not the biggest offense this week, I guess, but still, it seems like that's something Jay or Caitlin might have thought of. I mean, wear a mask, dude. Do something. Conceal your face somehow. Second, Geomancer walks right into Star Labs. Literally. Taking Caitlin and Iris completely by surprise. How? Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they mention earlier this season that they'd installed a bunch of new security measures in Star Labs which are supposed to prevent this exact thing from happening? Okay, he's got superpowers and he could probably, plow his way through like barricaded doors and shit, but he didn't even set off an alarm for God's sake. And this is a guy who makes earthquakes. How the fuck did they not know? How did they not know he was coming? And what's more, why did he even show up there at all? He's looking for the Flash, fine, but how did he know the Flash was at Star Labs? Was he just like searching buildings at random and happened to get lucky? Did he even know the Flash was there? Was he just there to cause some general shit? What the hell was even the point of that scene if they were just going to have Caitlin shoot him from behind, taking him out without Jay even having to do anything? That's all that happened. He just walked in and Caitlin shot him. Why even bother? I mean, why not save the Geomancer thing for another episode? It's like they wanted to get rid of Geomancer, but they didn't have the screen time for another fight scene, so they just went, fuck it. Third, Barry gets the idea to vibrate out of his cell after seeing Zoom do the same thing. So, you're telling me that the possibility of vibrating out of his cell had not even occurred to Barry until that point. Why? If I'm Barry, I'm gonna try vibrating out of that thing the second Zoom leaves me alone in there. You gotta get out of this cage somehow. Barry has the ability to vibrate through solid matter. He's done it before. So that's the first thing I'm going to try. No, Barry doesn't think of this. Why didn't Barry try it before? Why did this not occur to him? I mean, silly me. I was giving Barry the benefit of the doubt, assuming that the reason he hadn't tried it was because Zoom knew he would and had accounted for this by designing the cell to resist that power somehow. But no, apparently Barry didn't try to vibrate out of the cell because he just hadn't thought of it, even though that's a power he's had since Season 1. Fourth, there's this moment at the end where Killer Frost is holding Zoom at bay while the rest of them escape. All right. Barry wants to save the guy in the mask, but there isn't time. Why isn't there time? Can't Barry just vibrate through the cell and get them both out? He just vibrated out of his own cell in a couple seconds, so now you're telling me that there's no time to get this guy out? Why the hell not? And I didn't understand the trap that Zoom set for them either. He gets Killer Frost to lead them to his secret lair, a hideout completely inaccessible to anyone without speed, or, a ladder. But why did he need her to bring them to him at all? So he can kill Harry's daughter in front of him? He didn't need her help to do that. He didn't need her to do any of this, if you think about it. And nothing really comes of that betrayal either. Frost leads them to Zoom's lair, which is what they wanted. Then Zoom shows up, which they knew was a possibility before they went in. And then it turns out that Frost brought them there because Zoom told her to, which amounts to nothing because then Frost immediately turns on Zoom anyway. The whole thing was just sort of a contrived way to get all the characters in the same place, and then they try to throw in this big swerve for shock value, but then they don't do anything with it. It was strange. Something I did like here was the guy in the mask was trying to tell them something. Something about Jay Garrick. At first I thought he was trying to say that he was the real Jay Garrick, meaning that our Jay Garrick, the one we know, has been a fake this whole time, and maybe that's even Zoom's real identity. I don't know. But no, Jay is on Earth 1, and Zoom was on Earth 2 during this, so that wouldn't work unless Zoom can be in two places at once. That would be a stretch, even though the Reverse Flash did pull that stunt off last season. But when you add this to the shocker ending with Zoom's hand coming out of Jay's chest and yanking him back through the portal, which actually was really cool, there's definitely something weird going on here. I mean, these two have to be connected somehow, but it doesn't look like they're one and the same person. So what's the connection? That's an interesting mystery. And I think there are some interesting things they could do with that, definitely. I feel like this is going to tie into Zoom's identity somehow, and I feel like the reveal of who he is won't be as simple as some of us thought. And somehow, some way, it's got to involve Jay Garrick, although how, I couldn't tell you. So the first half hour was good, and the cliffhanger ending was good. The second half hour was just irritating. I don't know what's going on with The Flash this season, but these writers need help. The Flash, also known as the Barry Fucks Up Everything show. Yeah. Grant Gustin's portrayal of Earth 2 Barry is his dream performance of Clark Kent, since he's such a Superman fan. They even had reversed hairstyles, glasses, and dorky formal wear. I hadn't thought of that, but yeah, he was basically playing Clark Kent. Earth 2 Barry is a frightening pussy. I mean, like I almost thought he was a mole for a second there. That's how transparently shitty he was. No, I don't think he was transparent. I think he was genuinely just a big pussy. But he still went along. He still helped him. You know, he still tried to do the brave thing, even if he was kind of a lame-o. What if the man in the mask is Eddie of Earth 2, and he's cobalt blue, and Zoom is trying to get his powers as well? Oh, who knows? Eddie is someone I hadn't thought of. I'm not sure why Earth 2 Eddie Thawne would be trying to tell them something about Jay Garrick. Who knows? I took the tapping code from this week and took the taps from last week, and with a lot of work it spells out Zoom is Jay Garrick. Really? Huh. But no, how would that work, though? Because Jay was on Earth 1 and Zoom was on Earth 2. I mean, we were seeing them in different places at the same time. They maybe this is another Reverse Flash thing where he kind of separates himself and can appear in the same place at the same time. I don't know. I'm not sure how that would work. But who knows? Now you laugh, but real journalism is actually scarily propagandist. Take my word for it, they purposely slant things to the left so hard they literally teach it in journalism class. Oh, so you're telling me that Iris's editor is the one honest person in all of journalism? Well, that makes me like him an awful lot. Makes me dislike Iris a lot more. I wonder, with Caitlyn seeing someone else she cared about die in front of her eyes, will she eventually turn bad? I don't know if she'll turn bad. She might need some time on the couch with a therapist. She might have some PTSD. She might have some reluctance about putting herself out there again. She turned bad. I don't know. Maybe not Killer Frost bad, but she might. I don't know. She might get a little bitter about the whole love idea. I kind of agree with you about the news guy. TGA is right, but Iris could have done what he asked without burying the Flash, simply pointing out that he's not God and can't make the save every single time. Yeah. It didn't seem like this guy was asking her to do anything unreasonable. He just wants her to report what's really going on. Yeah, she wants to write this inspirational puff piece, but that's not news. You know, he's saying, no, there's a metahuman fucking shit up, and for some reason the Flash is not doing anything about it, so write about that. I fail to see why we're supposed to dislike this guy. Jay doesn't wear a mask because in the Golden Age, no one really did. Okay. But we're not in the Golden Age. Like I said, okay, maybe on Earth 2, masks aren't really a thing, but you're not on Earth 2. You know Barry wears a mask for a reason. And if you're filling in for Barry, and you're going to be speeding around where people can see you, and you know that there's a guy who looks just like you who, you know, is a private citizen out there who could be mistaken for you, wear a fucking mask. Doesn't wear a mask. Is Jay necessarily dead, though? We don't know for sure. That's true. We don't know for sure. Although, you know, Cisco... We saw Cisco in Season 1 get a vibrating hand through the chest, and that killed him. In one timeline, anyway. And we just saw Jay get a vibrating hand through the chest here, so we could assume... we should probably assume that he's dead, but we don't know for sure. That could be all a big fake out, I guess. Not only did the actual Jay not wear a mask in the comics, his girlfriend didn't know that he was the Flash even though she saw his face multiple times. Yeah, I know. I guess the helmet was supposed to cover that. This is why a lot of the comics from that age were kind of silly. I think RJ is Hunter Zolomon, and he and Earth 2 Zolomon are working together. But who knows? Your guess is probably better than mine at this point. Barry somehow saves the world, and if I'm correct, doesn't every season of each show, after they're finished, like The Flash and Arrow, get put on Netflix? Also, The Flash and Arrow are awesome and great. Barry somehow saves the world. Yeah, from a disaster that he caused. Reference the Season 1 finale. Do the seasons get put up on Netflix? I don't know. I don't have a Netflix account. The weird thing is that Jay and Zoom were in different worlds, and I doubt he could be in two places at once. Yeah, that's the problem I'm having. I mean, they were clearly not on the same world at the same time. So if they're the same person, that's going to be tricky to explain. If I'm Barry, I just use friction to superheat the air and melt the cage since I'm immune to heat, but vibrating out works too. Is Barry immune to heat? I don't know if they've ever mentioned that. The costume is probably heat resistant. I don't think Barry is immune to heat, though. Barry thought he saw Zoom speed his way through the cage, so that's what he thought he needed to do. Whoa, lost my place here. Oh yeah, him not vibrating through the cage to get out. Iron Mask Bro was not a good look at all. Barry says we'll come back, but the plan was to close the breach, meaning they'd never come back. Yeah, they closed. Didn't they close the portal at the end? So they can't save him now. They're just going to leave him there. It's kind of a shitty thing to do, actually. Look, I didn't think about that. Wow, that's a huge dick move. Yeah, you promised the guy you'll come back for him, and then they close the breach on their way out. They can't come back for him now. What the fuck, Barry? Zoom taking Jay was what broke up the plan, so that wasn't even necessary as a plot contrivance. That was just bad writing altogether. I was going to complain about the Geomancer going down like a bitch, but yeah, Jesus, Barry, what the fuck? The writers are so out of control in the writer's room that are you fearing one of the writers is Vince Russo? I don't know. If we have Barry versus Zoom in an object on a pole match, maybe. I'm not putting it past them at this point. I'm hoping the Iron Mask dude is Pharaoh Lad from Legion of Superheroes. It's not, but I kind of hope it is. Alright, I'm not familiar with that character. I like that Earth 2 Barry, despite being a pussy, tried to stand up and be a hero for his Iris and showed respect to his Joe and his late father-in-law. It mitigates what I was worried about last week. Yeah, that was good. I mean, he's kind of a wuss at times, but he seemed to be a genuinely good person, at least. And he still tried to do the right thing, even though he's... probably not cut out to be the superhero type. I would not be surprised if Vince McMahon was in charge of writing The Flash. Oh yeah, he'd micromanage the shit out of that show, wouldn't he? I was worried about last week with him basically having to stand in, living in his place on such an important day. All right. NJ. Gotham comes back a week from Monday. Are you hyped like me? I'm sure you are. NJ really wants me to watch Gotham again. I refuse. I'm sorry, I refuse. It's also biased to the right in some papers, just like the left. Yeah, I'm sure it is. In some places, it's biased to the panic button, and sometimes those are the ones that look the most sane. Puff pieces can be good if it's the right time to do it, but Iris does not get that. To TGA, papers can also be biased to the right as well, not biased towards. What I mean by that is biased to the right battery. Okay, we've established that newspapers are biased as hell. Good to know. Very rare though they are, that's a discussion for another time. Basically, they teach journalists today that to slant everything as far left as possible. Like I said, discussion for another time. He's immune to heat by default. Traveling faster than sound means the air around him goes up a few hundred degrees minimum due to friction. Alright, I don't think they ever explicitly mentioned that he was heat resistant. I always assumed the suit was kind of taking care of a lot of that, but yeah, I guess you're right. He also would have to be able to survive without air for the same reason. Yeah. What would Jim Cornette say about Barry? He would probably tell Barry to cut out the science fiction crap and stupid swerves and just wrestle. Deadpool 2 is in the making. Thoughts? Kind of already went over that. I'm glad they're making another one. I'm glad the movie was a success. I covered Deadpool first thing, so if you want my thoughts on Deadpool, just go back to the start of the video once this gets uploaded. Did the screen freeze up? No. Oh, mine's still working. Forgot to mention how hot not Elsa was in this episode. Oh, yeah. She was pretty hot, wasn't she? I got a thing for pale chicks. I think pale women are very attractive. I don't know what it is. But, yeah. She looks super hot with, like, the pale skin. If they give her red hair, too, oh, baby. Whew. Alright. That's about it for The Flash. Moving on to Arrow. Season 4, Episode 14, Code of Silence. As Oliver prepares for a mayoral debate against Damien Dark's wife, a demolition crew working for Hive is knocking down buildings with people inside them. Also, Quentin and Felicity's mom break up and get back together. Curtis invents a science machine that will let Felicity walk again, and Thea finds out that Oliver has a son, who then shows up at the end for a play date with Damien Dark's daughter. Okay. I would be remiss if I didn't first mention the really excellent stunt work in this episode. Specifically with the demolition sequences, when the buildings are coming down around people and they're like trying to avoid all the falling debris as like the ceilings collapse and shit. There were a couple single take shots during these sequences that were really, really impressive and must have taken a long time to set up. I know great stunts on Arrow goes without saying at this point, but every once in a while they'll do something where you're like, wow, they put some work into that. That took some time and effort, so kudos to them. Yeah, so I just wanted to point that out, because that, you know, there were some shots there that deserve to be singled out and mentioned there. So great work by the stunt crew. Aside from that, you know, I don't know if I have a lot to say about this one. This was a strong episode for the supporting cast. There were some really good scenes with Quentin and Felicity's mom. It's not played for melodrama. You don't feel like Quentin is being stupid and wanting to put some distance between them. Just that Hive just brought a building down around him. They clearly want him dead, and he wants to make sure his girlfriend stays safe. That's all it is. It's a very normal, understandable reaction to have, and not at all stupid as opposed to the way Barry handled the Patty Spivot situation. Even better, by the end of the episode, shocker, Quentin actually tells her the truth. She understands, and they work it out like rational thinking adults. I was surprised. This kind of thing is a bit of a rarity on TV these days. And there was a good scene with Thea where she finds out about Oliver's son and actually gives him good advice. You know, he doesn't like lying to Felicity to keep this son a secret, but she helps him understand that this is really the safest thing for him that Oliver can do. You know, it's a necessary evil. He's lying to protect his son. And it makes sense, and it's not stupid at all, and it shows how much Thea's grown as a character. It's all really good stuff. You know, there are no shock tactics or crazy swerves, just some good drama and good character interaction with people that are written well as reasonable, intelligent people, and no one's acting like an idiot. It seems like such a small thing, but I review The Flash, okay? Damn it, that show has given me a new appreciation for simple stuff like this. That's about it, really. They stop the bombs from bringing down the building where the debate is going to happen, and everything works out for the best. But they reinforce that Oliver is worried about doing what's best for his son and worried about keeping things from Felicity, and just when William shows up in the clutches of Damien Dark. So, also, if William is there, then what happened to the mom? Oh, that's not good. Yeah, that's bad, but, this episode was very good. Definitely like a bridging episode where you're catching your breath before things get really crazy again, but it did what it did very well. Yeah, there were some great stunts, good character stuff, nobody did anything really stupid. I have no complaints here, really. It was just a really good, solid episode overall. Next week's episode, Felicity finds out about William. It's going to be interesting to see her reaction, seeing how last time she didn't take the news well. Well, last time Oliver didn't do very well at explaining it. I think she'll probably take it hard at first, but once he explains to her why he was keeping it a secret, I think she would understand. I hope she would. I mean, he's got a very good reason to keep it a secret. I'm really surprised Oliver's son is having any kind of a role this season. Why? Did you think he wouldn't come back after they introduced him? Jesus Christ, Felicity's mom is hot. Like, hot enough that it's becoming distracting. Not complaining, just pointing it out. Oh yeah, she's a total MILF, isn't she? Like the scene where she went to see Quentin in his office and she's leaning up against the desk. Wow. She is aging very well. That's, yeah, I would agree with you on that. Interested to see Vixen next week. I hope they do it justice. I'm interested to see if the Vixen animated shorts are going to be in canon. I couldn't really tell by the promo, but did the Vixen cartoon actually happen within the context of the Arrowverse? Or is that just like a separate thing? I think it would be really interesting if it was actually in canon and how they're going to pull that off. But yeah, I'm excited for that next week. Oliver's son or Maxwell Hardy for the most amount of screen time. I think Maxwell Hardy's got him beat for now. They have Vixen and Vibe. Now all we need is Steel and Gypsy, and the Justice League Detroit is complete. Justice League Detroit. You'll have to help me out on that one. I've never heard of that. Yeah, Hot Mom and Layla are now officially the most understanding and realistic female characters in the entire show. I think Layla's still the queen. Lila, rather. Do you think there's a chance that Oliver's baby mama is in the grave? Possibly. Possibly. But then you have to ask, well, where's the son? I'm pretty sure I'd have to rewatch. I think there was only one grave, though. If there's only one grave, then where's the son? Is the son still alive? And if his baby mama showed up, would that be enough of a reason for Barry to show up? If it was the baby mama who died? Would that be enough to kind of emotionally break Felicity, where she's saying that he has to kill someone? When, until now, she's been the one who's saying that he should find a different way and not kill people anymore? It's possible, but I don't think so. I think this is, like, whoever dies, it's going to be somebody who has a big impact on Felicity, enough to really get her to go against what she believes in. So I don't think the baby mama would do that. I think the only way the flashbacks will make sense is if Oliver used the tattoo on Dark, and the thing they are looking for on the island is the stone thing Dark has. Yeah, that could be how they're going with it. Honestly, I'm not really paying attention to the flashbacks at this point. They're the least interesting part of the show for me. I'm kind of ready for the flashbacks to be over with. They started feeling superfluous last season, and it's just that hasn't changed. I sit through them because they're just something I have to put up with to get back to the main story, which is what I'm interested in. I'm ready for them to be de-emphasized. I don't think you need them every week. You really don't. And I just find myself less and less interested in that stuff, which is why I haven't been talking about the flashbacks recently. Ooh. Okay. Both of them, meaning Lila and Mama Smoke, seem to be able to grasp the idea that their boyfriends are engaged in an extremely dangerous job, and they sometimes must be out of the loop. Yeah, that's refreshing, isn't it? I think it's safe to say that William's mom was either kidnapped or dead, as no way she would just let Damien take him. Yeah, I'm going to say kidnapped. And either way, the kid probably doesn't know what's going on. Otherwise, he was being shockingly calm. Oh yes, and in this episode, Curtis invented a cure for paralysis, powered by a miniature atomic reactor. That's all. Yeah, I think the company's financial problems are over. They've got this miraculous battery that could power an entire building and fit in the palm of your hand, and also a cure for paralysis, a miraculous the medical breakthrough of the century. Palmer Technologies is pretty well set at this point, I think. Also, give Curtis a raise, because he came up with both of those inventions in a matter of weeks, within a couple weeks of each other. That's give that guy a raise. I mean, at this point, why not just cure cancer too, guys? Yes, that might be coming up next. Has Matt Hardy entered into Grant Ward territory? Well, it's off topic here, but no, Ward is worse, I think. What did you think of the Oliver and Thea scenes? I like them a lot. I think Thea has grown up a lot recently. I liked that she's the one giving him advice for a change, and it's actually good advice, well thought out advice. Well acted. I kind of already went over this, but yeah, I mean they're good scenes. Yeah, William's mom is dead. I believe that was the explicit subtext of the ending scene. I hope not. I mean, if she's going to die, I'd like them to do it on screen. Maybe they didn't have the actress. Quentin's death would get to Felicity, though, through breaking her mother's heart, so I think it could still be him. Yeah, he's still a possibility. I am thinking really hard about Dig right now, although I hope it's not him. But yeah, it could definitely be Quentin in the grave. The only way the LoT crew could get any worse is if they introduced Odarg the Great into the group. Oh, dude, don't even get me started on that. I'm going to have a few things to say about the Great-O shit on Saturday. Don't even get me started on that right now. Okay, that was Arrow. And moving on to Agent Carter. Season 2, Episodes 6 and 7, Life of the Party and Monsters. Peggy is still recovering from being impaled last week. Or in the timeline of the show, it was probably more like last night. So she breaks Dottie out of her cell so she can use Dottie on a mission to get a zero matter sample from Whitney Frost. Dottie goes into business for herself at one point, gets captured by Whitney, who has taken over the Arena Club with her creepy Dark Force powers, and in Peggy's efforts to extract Dottie, she and Jarvis knowingly walk into a trap, except the trap isn't for them. Okay, well, the story is definitely moving now. Now, granted, they had 2 episodes to do it this time. But the reason these episodes work is because of one thing. Dottie. They need to find a way to make her a bigger part of the show. Bridget Regan is fantastic in this role. It's no coincidence that things pick up every time she's on screen. Seriously. You're never completely sure if Dottie wants to kill Peggy, have sex with Peggy, or just be Peggy's best friend. Maybe none of the above, maybe all 3. Either way, their interactions are fascinating. You could do a whole episode of just them talking in a room and I'd watch it. There's such a wonderful, energy between them. The whole thing is charged with undertones of all these different things. It's kind of sexual, it's kind of heated, and it's kind of violent at the same time. And it's so wonderfully interesting. So you do an episode where the whole mission hinges on Dottie, and not shockingly, this was probably my favorite thing Agent Carter has done so far this season. It was pretty clever what they did here with Dottie. They kind of maneuvered her into a different position where her and Peggy can almost kind of work together, as long as Dottie is kept on a leash, and her government's abandoned her. She's a woman without a country, got no affiliations, no ties to anybody. And she has this weird fascination with Peggy where she seems to want to be around her, whether they're at odds or whatever the case might be. So she says, "Yeah, what the fuck, Peggy? Yeah, sure, what the hell? I'll help you out, Peggy. I know you plan on locking me up. I'll even tell you that to your face. I know you're going to lock me up after this, but I'm going to help you out anyway because I just want to be around you, Peggy. I find you so interesting. You're just, you know." I mean, Dottie's still an enemy, sure, but she's a little bit more ambiguous now in the sense that by the end of the episode, her and Peggy have a common enemy. They're almost kind of on the same side in a way. And if this means we get more Dottie and Peggy later on, more power to it. This is the best thing they're doing. So I was really digging all the Dottie stuff this week. You know, her and Jarvis going undercover was funny. Of course, Thompson had to show up and ruin all the fun, but still. Also, I appreciated that Peggy was faced with a couple problems here that she can't necessarily solve by punching them. Now let me be clear. I don't have a lot of patience for the love triangle stuff. The thing with Peggy and Wilkes still feels awfully forced, in my opinion. But I do like that Peggy suddenly finds herself with a dilemma that she doesn't know how to fix. Even if it's just the relationship stuff. She's confused and she's not sure what to do about it. And this is a side of Peggy that we don't normally get to see very often. You know, I like her not knowing what to do about a problem. Also, I like how the bad guys were outthinking her here. You know, when she goes to get Dottie out of Whitney Frost the clutches of Whitney Frost. I mean, she knows they're walking into a trap. She tries to account for that, but then it turns out that the trap wasn't really for her at all. It's a diversion so Whitney can get to Wilkes instead. And she fell right into it. See, this was a nice example of advancing the plot without resorting to the Flash method of having the characters act like dumbasses. Always nice to see that. You know, if anyone screwed up here, it was Peggy for underestimating Whitney. And in that case, it's a refreshing change because it shows Peggy being fallible when she's normally so on the ball with everything. And the drama worked out well here, too, when Anna got shot at the end. I don't know what the hell Anna thought she was going to do, or what she thought was going to happen when she confronted Whitney at the end there. It's like, hey, you can't do that. Let him go. I don't have a weapon of any kind to stop you from doing it, but damn it, I'm going to stand here and I'm going to tell you to let him go. So yeah, she got shot, and that was kind of her own fault for being a dummy. But it worked. Yet when Peggy got impaled, it was like, oh, man, she's going to feel that for a while. But you weren't scared because you knew she lives until present day, so obviously she survives. But we don't know if Anna's going to survive. She could very well die. So there are some actual stakes here. And that makes the drama work. And on that note, I should probably add an addendum to my thoughts on the last episode from the previous week. I was relieved to see that Peggy had not fully recovered from being impaled yet. Still hindered by it enough that she needs some help from an outside source, and that she can't really walk around very well. But the fact that she's already walking around at all, man, that's hard to accept for me. It really is. I went back and I rewatched the injury from last week. She should be dead. Or at the very least, a lot more fucked up than she is. In fact, the more I think about it, the more this is pissing me off. I don't care who you are, you're not going to be walking around so soon after getting a rebar poked through your belly. Okay? Is this really the closest we get to Peggy being physically human before they reveal that she's an actual Terminator? Have her stay in bed a while longer or something, Jesus Christ. Yeah. That's my main gripe with this one. Peggy is just recovering way too damn fast. I mean, if you need her back on her feet quickly, okay, so be it. Just don't have her get impaled. I mean, fuck her up a little bit less catastrophically if you need her, back walking around so quickly. Otherwise, most of this stuff worked really well. Dottie is wonderful. The dynamic with her and Peggy is super interesting. Whitney is finally going supervillain evil, so the plot is moving now. The love triangle stuff I don't care for, admittedly. That's whatever. I don't really care so much. And, Peggy recovering so quickly from an injury that would kill anybody else really bugs me. The rest of this stuff was good. Okay. I didn't really care for two things this week. One, Thompson knocking out Dottie was crap. She could kill that little punk so easily it's not even funny. Two, Dottie should not be afraid of Whitney Frost. I will give you the first one. That really bothered me too. I mean, we just see this woman taking out 3-4 guys at once. Granted, Thompson did get the jump on her and sneak up on her from behind, but I was like, what? Why did she get beat so easily by him just now? What the fuck? No, I didn't really buy that either. No. I was trying to make excuses for it, actually. I was like, well, maybe she let him knock her out because she wants to get captured because of this reason or that reason, but no, it didn't really hold water. No. I will give you that one. That's good. That's a good point. Two, Dottie should not be afraid of Whitney Frost. Oh, I disagree. She was in the closet watching when Whitney disintegrated those arena club guys. She knows this is a dangerous, really fucking dangerous woman. Yeah, that she doesn't necessarily have a way to beat. No, I can buy that she would be afraid of Whitney, because this is something Dottie has no experience with. No, this is like science fiction come to life. So, no, she would be scared. Dottie is a crazy as hell Black Widow. She should have treated Whitney the same way she has everyone else. Maybe after the torture. Maybe afraid after the torture, but not before. Okay. I can understand that you think this way, but again, she watched this woman disintegrate several people with black ooze that came out of her body. I think she's afraid of Whitney because she doesn't know what the fuck Whitney is. I was shocked that Darkstar, I'm calling her Darkstar, her powers match, fell for that trap. I mean, it was so transparently a trap. Which one? You mean when her husband set her up to get captured, and then she disintegrated her husband and those other guys? Was that the one? Like, so obviously a trap, I assumed she knew it was a trap and was planning to trap the Hydra dudes, not the other way around. Oh, okay. It's a bit of a gray area, but I was willing to accept that he got Whitney to believe him by appealing to her pride and her sense of ego, because this is a woman who has wanted recognition and wanted to be valued for what she brings to the table, and she hasn't gotten that. So here, her husband is finally saying, "Yeah, you're awesome. So I set up a meeting with you and my bosses because I think you're great, and these guys are gonna think you're really great because of all the stuff you can do." And I could buy that she was momentarily blinded by her pride in that situation. I could buy that. I think we're seeing that Wilkes is not such a nice guy after all. After he sees Peggy and Sousa having a moment, you can tell how angry and self-absorbed his character becomes. Yeah, but he's also got that, zero matter problem he's dealing with. Not exactly sure what's going on there, but he has reasons to be tense other than Peggy and Sousa. I'm sure that's part of it, but yeah, he's got other reasons to be kind of stressed out. I honestly could care less about Crippled Dude or Black Dude. I could barely remember their names. I'd rather have Dottie and Peggy, if anyone at all, besides Jarvis. Well, yeah, I think everyone is going to be. I think everyone is going to seem a lot less interesting compared to what Dottie's doing. Quite frankly, I'm with you on that one. I don't dislike Wilkes, but he's. I'm more interested in his zero matter dilemma than I am in him as a character right now. Loved watching Peggy and Dottie race to see who could escape first, only for Jarvis to beat them both. Yes, that was great. That was a fucking great moment. I actually laughed out loud. It's like they're in the middle of this like dick measuring contest, for lack of a better term for it, and then Jarvis of all people frees himself first. That was awesome. Have you seen One Punch Man? His power is like Peggy's in that she can solve problems with one punch, except in this episode. No, I haven't seen that. I will say that Black Dude's entire arc has come off as completely artificial and pointless. It honestly reminded me of Ray and Felicity. I wouldn't say it's exactly like Ray and Felicity. I would agree that I buy their relationship about as much as I bought that. So yeah, I think the dynamics are different, but I guess there are similarities in that the relationship doesn't kind of feel genuine. Okay, I can buy that Peggy would be attracted to this guy, but to the point that she seems to be, it's like, what? I don't know. Oh shit, I didn't even think about it, but yeah, we all know Peggy survives, so why do we care if she even gets hurt? Yeah, it's always going to be one of the problems this show has. It's like, we know she lives until present day, so they kind of have to be a little more clever with how, with the stakes that they impress upon the characters, because, putting Peggy in a life-threatening situation only does so much. We know that she survives at the end of the day. We know that Jarvis is going to live long enough to meet Tony, so he's going to be all right. Some of the other characters are fair game, like Anna, for example. We don't know if she's going to survive, so that's when it works. Sousa, probably same deal. Thompson, same deal. Dottie, same deal. But there are certain characters that we know are safe, and putting them in mortal peril, it can be interesting, but it's not going to have you biting your fingernails in anticipation, What did you think of the Season 2 Daredevil trailer? I will get to that in just a minute. I think this season of Agent Carter is better than the first. I hope somehow it gets a third season. Maybe if ABC cancels the show, Netflix can pick it up or give Dottie her own spinoff. I would totally be down for a Dottie spinoff. That would be amazing. Yeah, who knows? Anything's possible. I would. It doesn't seem incredibly likely right now. Plus, Haley Atwell got cast in another show. They're saying if Agent Carter gets another season, that they'll work out the schedules so she can do both. But it's not. Yeah. It's not a good indicator that Agent Carter's future is assured. Yeah, so I would guess that it won't get a third season. Although, it's Disney and Marvel and ABC, and Disney owns everything. They could just say fuck it and give Carter another season because, hey, we're Disney, we can do anything we want. But who knows? It's probably, I think if I had to guess, I think season 2 will most likely be it for Carter. But we don't know for sure. Just a reminder, what are your thoughts on Daniel Bryan's retirement? Yeah, I'll get to that. 1 second. One Punch Man's power is to beat his opponents in one punch, no matter how strong they are. All right. Thoughts on Dottie's overall arc? Well, we haven't seen the full arc yet, I guess, but I think it's really interesting. Cold-blooded assassin working for, product of the Black Widow program, working for, I think, the Russians. To now, woman without a country, no affiliations. She goes from wanting to kill Peggy to being kind of obsessed with her and maybe having conflicting, kind of ambiguous feelings about her. We haven't seen the whole arc yet, but I think her development is going really well. She's less of an antagonist and more of a wild card now. And I think it's a cool place for her to be. All right. That's it. Sorry. That's it for Carter. Now, okay, this is the point where you guys can ask me anything you want. There are rumors going around that Netflix is thinking about bringing back Young Justice. If they bring it back, will you review it? Oh, is that a serious thing? I would love it if they brought back Young Justice. That show was awesome. If I brought it back, would I review it? Yeah, probably not. I kind of at my limit here. But anyway, Deluxe Man asked me earlier thoughts on Brian's retirement and the Titus O'Neil thing. I'm depressed about Brian retiring, but I think if his physical condition was as bad as we have learned, it's probably for the best. I love the guy to death, but I don't want to see him turn into another Chris Benoit. If it's true that he was having seizures due to concussion issues, then I would probably have made the same decision that WWE made and not let him wrestle again. Because, we got to look out for the guy's health. We love the guy as a wrestler, but we also want him to live a long and healthy life and be able to have kids and be in his right state of mind and everything. It's a tough situation, but we gotta keep our priorities straight here. You know, his health is more important than his wrestling career. And, you know, I don't like saying that. You know, I love Daniel Bryan. You know, I got to meet him once. I was lucky enough to be in the crowd for his last independent match ever. This was after WWE fired him and before they brought him back. It was a match between him and Shelton Benjamin. I was in the crowd for that. And before the show, I got to meet him. I got to take a picture with him. I got to shake his hand. And he was really nice to me, too. He was just a really great guy. So I was so happy that he had the success that he had, and he got to main event WrestleMania like it was his dream to do. Yeah, I think it was the first episode of NXT, back when NXT was like, you know, the original version of NXT when they were doing the pros and rookies thing. And I think in his interview he said his goal was to main event WrestleMania. I'm so happy he actually got to do that. I mean, it sucks that he had to retire, but we should be happy because he had a great career. He got to accomplish all his goals. He got to main event WrestleMania in front of 75,000 people. Plus, he met Brie Bella, and he wound up with a really hot wife too, who seems to love him to death. So hey, it's a sad situation, but it's a happy situation too because hey, look at everything that he got to accomplish. He even wrote a best-selling book, for crying out loud. So I have some conflicting feelings, but I'm sad he had to retire, but I'm happy at the same time. Also, Titus O'Neil. He got suspended for 90, now 60 days, and fined for kind of grabbing Vince's arm post-Raw. And apparently he was made an example of because Vince wants people to act more professional. And, okay, first of all, Titus shouldn't have done what he did. That was stupid. Now, especially if they were still on camera via the network. You know, I mean, he shouldn't have done it, period. But that made it worse. So I can understand O'Neil doing what he did. At the same time, suspended for fucking 2 months? Just for grabbing the guy on the arm? Dude, verbally reprimand him and then send him back to work. I think everybody was in the wrong there. Titus was wrong for grabbing Vince like that. I think Vince was wrong for a gross overreaction. So the end result is Titus gets his push cut off, if you can call that a push. He doesn't get a WrestleMania payday. And you're out another mid-card guy at a time when your roster is incredibly weak due to half the roster being out injured. I just think it's an unfortunate situation for everybody involved. Save me one. Daredevil. That's about Daredevil. Really fucking excited about Daredevil Season 2. The new trailer is amazing. It looks like this guy is the Punisher. John Bernthal. It looks like he's gonna fucking nail it. I was a little disappointed that we didn't see the Skull shirt. Because I kept looking for it. I kept looking, dude, where's the Skull shirt? Everything's perfect, but where's the Skull shirt? You're not wearing it yet. So apparently he's not the Punisher when we meet him. He's just Frank Castle Vigilante. So maybe Season 2 will be the origin of the Punisher in the same way that Season 1 was the origin of Daredevil and the Kingpin. That's okay, but I want to see the Skull shirt by the end of the season, though. This looks dark. Like, darker than Season 1. I'm so on board with this. I love, it's so twisted. Like, they have like, the children music at the beginning. With, like the imagery of, like, the little girl's room and her toys and her books and stuff. Like intercut with like things getting like really shit, and you see Frank with blood all over his face and looking like his there's nothing inside him. And he just wants to fucking kill everybody he sees. It looks so badass. I'm really excited for this. It's less than a month away, too. I can't believe season 2 is almost here. It's gonna be fucking awesome. And it's a really interesting because it's like a 2-part trailer because they got one focused on Punisher, and I'm assuming the next one will focus on Elektra. We we've barely seen any of Elektra. That was really clever 2-part trailer. I'm surprised more people haven't done that. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Austin Aries made his house show debut before his tape debut that will air in March. In Philly tonight. Also, Asuka and Eva happened with Asuka winning, thankfully, and Balor has even been cleared. Good. Good on all counts. Oh god, I loved Young Justice. It reminded me of those 90s cartoons back when cartoons didn't suck. Oh, Young Justice was fucking awesome. Ah, man, and so many great cartoons get canceled way too fucking early. Like the Spectacular Spider-Man got canceled after 2 seasons, so we could get that bullshit, terrible fucking cartoon that we have now. Apparently the Tron cartoon didn't get a second season. Oh, that show was so fucking great. And Young Justice only got 2 seasons. Man. A lot of great cartoons have been canceled before their time. Damn it, that makes me mad. Young Justice was so great. I mean, if you ask me what kind of like a superhero animated show that I'm looking for, that's it right there. I mean, it's the kind of show that kids can watch it, but there's a lot of stuff for adults to watch there too. And it's well written, and the stories were great, and the writing was intelligent. It was just a really fucking great show. Thoughts on what Road Dogg said about wins and losses not mattering. I think Road Dogg's full of shit. Of course wins and losses matter. And, Schleg Daddy did a whole video about that. Go watch that. He explains it better than I can. How was the Brian Shelton match? It was good. I actually videotaped the match, secretly. I had to kind of hide the video camera up my sleeve. But I got the whole match on tape, on video. I have it somewhere. I'm not sure where it is. This room's kind of a mess, but I gotta clean out a bunch of shit. But I actually do have the video, which I decided not to upload to YouTube because it would just get taken down because they were taping the show for a DVD of some kind. So there's copyright stuff there, but yeah. It was good. They didn't kill themselves, obviously, but I was satisfied. I had no idea about the seizures and the lesion in his brain. Knowing about that, I no longer have any problems or conspiratorial thoughts about his retirement. Yeah, definitely. We don't want another Chris Benoit. One was too many. I don't want to see Brian become a wrestling tragedy. If it takes him retiring to ensure his future good health, then that's what should happen. I recently caught up to Better Call Saul. It's a good show, in my opinion, worth watching. Better Call Saul is on Monday nights at 10 p.m. Okay. I've heard good things about BCS. I don't really have much of a desire to watch it. I only checked out Breaking Bad because I've always heard people just raving about it nonstop to the point where I was finally like, okay, I got to see what the big deal is. Now that's the only reason I watched Breaking Bad. It was an excellent show. It's just not the kind of thing I'd usually be into. I'm sure Better Call Saul's a great show. I don't really have much of a desire to watch. Daniel Bryan's retirement is very sad indeed, but he had a tremendous career, and I'm really happy for him. Yeah, that's my mindset too. It's sad, but it's also happy because look how much he got to accomplish. Now he gets to go put lots of babies in Brie Bella. Everybody wins! You know? Bryan succeeded despite what WWE tried to do by holding him down. Yes. Yes. That was an amazing accomplishment. Because he dragged them. You know, he carried them on his back and dragged them into WrestleMania 30. Because they did not want to do that. They did not want to put him over, put the world title on him at WrestleMania. That's for damn sure. He made them do it. The fans made them do it. And that's something he can always hold on to. Are you excited for that King Shark is coming back? I'm interested. I think this episode could be hilarious for all the right reasons. In one of those episodes where you love it just because of how absurd the whole thing is. You know, I love the promo actually. How it was made to look like Jaws. Like the Jaws trailer. They even put they even had the Jaws graphic on there. I thought that's really fucking clever actually. I'm excited for this. And who knows? And, you know, they did a good job with the CG Gorilla Grodd. I'm hoping they can make King Shark look pretty decent. I'm not expecting this to be an episode to take seriously, more like just a kind of a absurdist comedy episode, but maybe that's in order. I hear so many people trying to make the case for that the Titus O'Neil suspension is a work. I just don't see it. Why would it be a work? I mean, if you're gonna do a work suspension, do it with a character that matters. I mean, God bless Titus O'Neil, but does the guy really matter in the grand scheme of things right now? Not really. He was getting a push in that he was winning matches, but the guy wasn't involved in any storylines of any kind. Really, so a lot of people probably won't even notice that he's gone. Not that I have anything against Titus O'Neil, I don't. It's just, you know, the guy was not in a critical position. Taker's opponent is going to be someone not on the active roster from what the rumors are saying. Some will say it will be Sting, but I want it to be Reigns versus Taker. Not on the active roster. Well, isn't Sting still injured? I heard he needed surgery of some kind. Maybe he's healthy by now. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. But honestly, I think the window to do Taker versus Sting has closed. You know, the time to do that was at WrestleMania last year. And they fucked that up. Because Triple H needed his Mania payday. If it was going to be someone from the active roster, I would say Kurt Angle. I still think that's a possibility. Maybe I'm just nuts. Because I don't know if they'd even clear Kurt Angle at this point. But, and who knows? Reigns versus Taker? Nah. Maybe eventually, but, you know, we all know it's going to be Reigns versus Triple H. You know, Reigns is their guy. They want Reigns in the title match. So, plus, I mean, if they put Reigns versus Taker, then who do they have to face Triple H? You know? Ambrose? It'd be cool, but they wouldn't do it for a WrestleMania main event. Do you think John Bernthal is going to be a better Punisher than Thomas Jane? Yes. Not comparing their acting chops or anything, but I think he's going to have far better material to work with than Thomas Jane did. I think Jane might have made a decent Punisher if he'd been in a better movie. But no, the Thomas Jane Punisher movie kind of sucked. So, yeah, I think Bernthal's going to be a better Punisher. Yes, absolutely. It was recently reported that John Cena, Kevin Owens, Braun Strowman, and Brock Lesnar will not be facing Taker at Mania. WWE are planning to have Taker face someone not on the roster. Okay, is that official? Because last I heard it was still Braun Strowman. How do you feel about booking for AJ Styles so far? I'm digging the feud with Jericho. Don't like that Miz was shoehorned in, though. I have mixed feelings. I was not expecting them to shoot AJ into the main events. I think anybody hoping for that was fooling themselves. AJ is about where I expected him to be. He's, upper mid card guy, and they're not. It's pretty clear that they don't have a lot of faith in his promo ability, because they're definitely booking around that, putting him in situations where he doesn't talk or speaks as little as possible. Which I can understand. I mean, AJ is great in the ring, but promos are something he's always kind of struggled with, and that's something that WWE stresses more than in-ring ability. It's talking, it's entertaining, it's telling a story, and AJ is great with the wrestling, but that other stuff, that's not. Yeah, he's probably stepping out of his wheelhouse to a certain extent. I think it's been okay. I think him jobbing to Chris Jericho when Jericho loses to everyone these days was not really auspicious. I think it's probably an indicator that they don't plan on pushing AJ all that much. I expect we'll get some good matches out of AJ and Jericho. There isn't a whole lot of story here. It's like AJ wins a match, Jericho wins a match, so let's have another match. Except this time we want people to pay to see it. That's really the best you got. It's pretty lame. You want to put Miz in there? Okay. I don't have a big issue with that. Miz is a guy that can talk really well and generate some heat. That'll probably be helpful. And AJ will probably get a pop for punching the guy in the face. But, overall, it's pretty much what I figured would happen to AJ. And this is probably where he'll be for his WWE run. At least until he starts getting the Dolph Ziggler treatment. Thoughts on Wolverine 3 being rated R? I think that is a response to the R-rated Deadpool movie doing huge box office. And I think it's probably a good idea. It's going to be the last time Jackman plays Wolverine. Just go for it, man. Go balls to the wall and do the Wolverine. Do like if Wolverine were like a Max title, like the Marvel Max line for mature readers, where he just go balls to the wall and have him just butcher everybody, Do like a remorseless, berserker rage Wolverine. Just go for it. Why the hell not? Ooh. Eva tapped out to Asuka's armbar. Good. What did you think of the Wolverine and the X-Men cartoon? I really liked it. I thought that was a really good cartoon. It was weird that they kind of shoehorned Wolverine into the leadership position. That always felt kind of strange to me. But, Wolverine's the cash cow. They want him front and center. Okay, whatever. But I liked it. It was good animation. It was good stories. I loved what they did with Emma Frost. I didn't like that she died at the end, but I always loved the Cyclops-Emma Frost relationship in the comics, even though it's kind of over now, which I'm not happy about. But yeah, I love the story. It does kind of bug me that pretty much every Jean Grey story ultimately comes back to the Phoenix, because they just can't forget about that fucking Firebird. But it was a great cartoon. I was pissed off when it got canceled. If Murdoch chooses Karen or Elektra this season, he's an idiot. So you don't want Matt to choose Karen or Elektra. Well, does seem like Karen is the long-term destination, at least right now. That could change, who knows, but the way they described Elektra's character is going to be like she's kind of a... she's gonna be like the Catwoman to his Batman, who like they have a connection, but she's kind of tempting him to stray from his righteous path a little bit too much. So yeah, I think well, Karen's your female lead of the show, so obviously it's probably more likely that he's going to choose her ultimately, unless she dies, like in the comics. But you don't want her to choose either of them, huh? Well, if it's me, I'm going to go with Deborah Ann Wall, because Jesus Christ, that woman is gorgeous. And who knows? If you liked Young Justice, look up Symbionic Titan. They got some crazy stuff past the censors on that show, especially with regard to sexy Miss Fanservice cheerleader character. Symbionic Titan. Yeah, I've heard of that show. I don't think I've seen it. Are you gonna watch Game of Thrones season 6? Oh hell yeah! Of course. Over Elektra. He chooses Karen over Elektra. Okay, so you don't want Matt to choose Karen over Elektra. I think Karen would be the healthier choice. That's just me. I mean, especially if she's going to be like the comics Elektra, with ties to the hand and whatnot. I mean, Matt's a guy who's trying not to stray from the righteous path. Yeah, one woman who's going to would probably help him with that, and one woman who would encourage him to stray from that path. And the idea of Elektra maybe sounds enticing, but is probably not the healthiest thing he could be doing. Plus, how do you say no to Deborah Ann Wall? Seriously. The woman's been my biggest TV crush for, well, pretty much since season 1 of True Blood. Thoughts on Bree saying she wants to retire in the summer? I don't really have any. I know she wants to have kids with Brian, and she's wanted kids for a long time. They clearly don't value her as a talent much anymore. So, seems like the writing's on the wall. It's like 99% sure that she's not going to get another Divas title reign. So, might be a good time to hang it up. Go start making babies. Thoughts on Wade Barrett choosing not to re-sign when his contract runs out? Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, he's not getting pushed. And that window's probably closed, because every time they tried pushing him, he got injured. So he was probably going to be mired in mid-card purgatory for the rest of his career. Maybe he wasn't okay with that. Maybe he wants to do something else. Maybe he wants to try to rebuild his career elsewhere. Not surprising, really. Why do the best animated shows get canceled? Dude, I don't know. Yeah, well, at least we got Avatar and Legend of Korra. Those both got, those shows got to finish their stories. I'm very thankful for that. But, man, a lot of the best cartoons do get canceled these days, don't they? That is fucking depressing. Ambrose lost the IC title belt on Raw. Could Ambrose face Taker at WrestleMania, even though it makes no sense? He could. But again, it would make no sense. I mean, Ambrose... I suppose you could make the argument that he's been built up enough for that Taker might be interested, but I think that's a real long shot. Because networks are full of bean counters who have no desire to make good television, just good investments. Yeah. Oh, fuck it. The new Thundercats cartoon got canceled too, apparently. And for bullshit reasons, too, because I heard the ratings for it were really good, but it was canceled because the action figures weren't selling well. So it was highly rated, but the fucking toys didn't sell, and that's why they canceled the new Thundercats. That pissed me the fuck off, because that was another really fucking great cartoon. Ugh. God, don't get me started. Yeah, already talked about, have you discussed Daniel Bryan's retirement? Yeah, I did that a couple minutes ago. Just rewind the video when it gets uploaded. It's all in there. You think it's possible it'll be Triple H versus Reigns versus Ambrose? Eh, it's possible. My guess is they're going to want Triple H versus Reigns one-on-one. And with the roster as thin as it is, my guess is they're going to want Ambrose in a singles match as well, or in a separate match away from the main event, just so they have another match that they can make. All right. TGA is leaving us for the night. Thank you for joining us, dude. See you next week. Have you ever played Injustice Gods Among Us? No. Wasn't really interested. Okay. Thoughts on AJ's lone wolf persona from TNA? I thought it was interesting. I liked that he was doing something different, kind of getting away from the phenomenal one and showing that all the shit that he'd gone through had taken its toll, and he was kind of growing up and turning into a bit of a darker character. Yeah, it's about it. I liked it. I thought it was interesting that he was doing something different. Thoughts on Lucha Underground? I've talked about Lucha Underground a number of times. I like that they're out there. I like that they're doing something different and trying to find a different way of presenting pro wrestling. It's just not for me personally. Personally, I like trying to be able to suspend my disbelief and pretending that wrestling is actually like a real event. And Lucha is basically a telenovela about wrestling. And it's asking me to suspend my disbelief a little bit too much. And I like that they're doing something different. It just doesn't really speak to me. I heard they were getting into really weird stuff like time travel. Or like people coming back from the dead and stuff, and like, wow, that's a little bit too much, guys. Now it's just like science fiction. That's not the kind of pro wrestling that I'm looking for. It's likely that AJ's feud with The Miz and Jericho is to get Owens for the IC title at WrestleMania 32. Possibly. Aside from the Royal Rumble, AJ hasn't had any interaction with Owens yet. There's been no talk of putting a title on him from what I've seen, but who knows? Samurai Jack is coming back this year. Are you going to watch that, even if you never watched the show? I don't know. I never really had any exposure to Samurai Jack. I've heard good things about it. I really loved the Clone Wars animated shorts that were made by the same guy, I think. I'm interested in that. I heard that Samurai Jack was serialized, and they were telling like a really big story, but it got canceled before they could finish it. Maybe they're going to finish it now. Who knows? I might check it out at some point. If they give Brie a pity run before she leaves, it would screw over Becky. Yeah, I don't see the point in giving Brie Bella another title run. Maybe under different circumstances, but they've got a storyline here with Becky and Sasha and Charlotte. That's actually like sort of semi well developed, and people seem to be at least a little bit interested in and invested in. Don't ruin that just so you can give Brie one more token, a token run with the title. I don't think they care about appeasing fans of Daniel Bryan. I think they care about giving Brie a run to keep Nikki relevant, because Nikki is screwing their top guy. But I don't think the fans really care. I really don't. I mean, Nikki was a heel when she got injured. And her and Brie changed from face to heel to face to heel to face to heel so fucking much. It's like, for me, it's impossible to care about them at this point. I care about Brie in the sense that Bryan cares about her. But I don't see any point in giving her another title run, unless it comes after the storyline with Charlotte Sasha Becky concludes. And that won't happen until after WrestleMania, at least. Do you think Barrett will go to TNA with his friend Drew? I imagine TNA will inquire. Whether Barrett is interested is another matter. Yeah, I'm sure they'll make a play for him. Do you think it's stupid cancel a good animated show based off toy sales? Well, from my perspective, it's really fucking stupid. Because that was a great show. Of course, I don't know what the financial details are. If that's where most of the revenue was coming from, well, I guess from a business standpoint, you could justify it, but why are you making it? Why are you even doing a cartoon if the only purpose is to sell toys? Wouldn't you want the show to be financially viable based on the show itself? If the whole thing depends on toy sales, that's a fucking problem. That's George Lucas thinking right there. Should Tyrus just sell his title shot to Matt? Dude, I honestly wonder if that title shot is even still a thing. It doesn't seem to be a thing anymore. Tyrus isn't acting like it's a thing. I really want it to not be a thing anymore, because the fact that he still has that title shot for the World Heavyweight Championship, that concerns me. Because Tyrus fucking sucks. I'm sorry. That guy is just lousy. He's a decent promo. You know, he's proven that the last couple of weeks, but in the ring, he's nothing. He's a fucking snooze fest. I don't want that guy to have a title shot at all. Did you see Ronda Rousey's interview on Ellen? She mentioned, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, she considered suicide. I saw it. I don't know if I buy it completely. Well, let's be honest. Ronda is not the nicest person in the world. She refused to touch gloves with Holly Holm at the end, at the beginning of the match. I mean, she hugged her afterwards, sure, but Ronda probably was somebody who needed to get their ass kicked. She hasn't always been the greatest person in the world. I'm kind of repeating myself here, but I wonder if that was just kind of something she did to generate a little sympathy for herself. I don't feel a lot of sympathy for her. She's still got an incredible record in MMA. She's still got like endorsement deals. She's still on magazine covers. She's still doing movies. She's still one of the UFC's biggest meal tickets. I mean, that hasn't changed. I mean, her drawing power has probably diminished somewhat with the loss, but she's still a big star. I don't feel a lot of sympathy for Ronda. No, she's still doing great. One loss doesn't kill her. Now, she might feel that way if that was not. Of course, that might have been an act she was putting on. I don't know. I don't pretend to know for sure. Joey Ryan is a cop on Lucha Underground. Oh boy. Joey Ryan is a cop, huh? Have you ever seen the Venture Brothers? No. Never seen it. Also, Ronda may not be fighting this year because she's going to be filming 2 movies, and one of them got pushed back to be in filming later. Yeah, and plus she had like an injury after the home fight, and she couldn't fight for a while anyway. She's got stuff to occupy herself in the meantime. Brie versus Stephanie would be a better feud than being in the title picture. Well, they already did Brie versus Stephanie. They had something good there, and then they fucked that up when Nikki turned heel on her. That was fucking stupid. I'm not really interested in seeing them revisit that. Ronda's either completely bullshitting or has such an overinflated, fragile ego. Probably a little of both. Either way, it's complete. It's clear her mentality has gone from elite MMA fighter to pampered Hollywood superstar. Yeah, I won't disagree with that. Would it be so much Bryan fans, but more so Bella fans? Honestly, I think the whole Bella Twin fan base has been so blown out of proportion. Have they ever seemed that over to you? I don't mean like Brie doing the yes kicks to get cheap pops. I mean, like, in general. Have they ever seen that over? Have you ever seen the Bella Twins get like a super huge reaction from the crowd? I haven't. Yeah, for all their talk about the Bella Army, I think their fan base is kind of imaginary to a large extent. Who's your favorite female Marvel character? Probably Emma Frost. I also love Jessica Drew, but only when she's written by Bendis. Who the hell else? I don't know. Yeah, probably Emma Frost. Which sport is more fixed, boxing or soccer? I honestly don't care. I don't watch either one. Brie comes across as a genuinely good person, much more so than Nicole. Oh, absolutely. 100%. I still don't want to give her the title because she's a terrible wrestler and talks like an android in scripted promos. I wouldn't say she's a terrible wrestler. I think one-dimensional wrestler is more accurate. And yeah, she's not a good actress. She's really not. I do think she's a good person, though. Much more so than Nikki. I stopped watching Total Divas a while ago. Yeah, I have not been keeping up with that at all, but from what I saw on that show, Brie seems like a person I would like if I met her in real life. Where Nicole just seemed completely unlikable. Just as a human being. I was like, oh, every time they were on her, I was like, why? Stop, she's awful. It just, ugh. Have you heard the shoot interview where Jim Cornette bashes Lucha Underground? Yeah, I've heard it. I probably just insulted 17 and 18 by saying she talks like an android. What was TNA's best year? Oh, God, who the hell knows? I don't know. What are they in their 15th year now? Honestly, all the years start to run together to me after a while. I don't think of things in terms of year. I don't. It would be really hard for me to remember what happened in which year. Honestly, it's just not something I think about really. I don't know. Best year would probably be before Hogan and Bischoff showed up. Because we're still feeling the after effects of their reign of terror today. Do you think the Gambit movie will be good? I have no idea. All we really know is that Channing Tatum is playing him. I think... I don't know what to think about Channing Tatum. I think they could do worse casting. I think he's kind of proven himself to be a good actor in recent years. He's done some good work. He's good at comedy. He's good at action. He's had some good dramatic performances. I guess I could see him as Gambit, sort of. All we really know is the casting. So I don't know. Talk to me when we have more information. In Rhonda's book, she mentioned her father committing suicide, so it may be true in Rhonda's case. Oh, I didn't know about that. Oh, okay. Do you think Holly Holm will be a draw? Probably not as much as Rhonda is. I think she'll be a draw in the sense that Chris Weidman is a draw. Maybe not the sense that they have star power themselves, but just because people are interested in them because they conquered the giant. Weidman conquered Anderson Silva, excuse me. and Holly Holm took down the undefeated Ronda Rousey. Is Holly Holm herself going to be a draw on her own merits? I don't know. I think there's going to be a large amount of curiosity about her after the post Rousey defeat. I don't think she'll be as big a draw as Rousey was, because I think half the appeal of Rousey was people wanting her to get beat. So, time will tell. Thoughts on Joey Ryan's penis trend? Ugh. It's a funny viral video, but let's not blow it out of proportion. Based on what we saw of Joey Ryan as a referee, Joey Ryan as a cop does not sound very promising. Different company, yeah, still same character. Yeah, okay. I say they should go back to Stephanie and Brie is to get her revenge on Stephanie by getting Stephanie out of power. Okay, well, Stephanie's not going to be ousted from power. Clearly. How long has this authority thing been going on? Years now. And what happened the last time the authority were ousted from power? They were back a few weeks later. Like it never happened. Yeah, so they're not going to oust Stephanie from power just to put over Brie when Brie's leaving? No, why would they? It would be pointless to do, first of all. And they're not going to do it anyway because Stephanie's ego is too big. Do you find CM Punk fans annoying? I find it annoying when they still chant for him at wrestling shows. Hey, I miss CM Punk too, but guess what? He's not coming back. He's moved on. Maybe you should too. I'm interested to see what he does as an MMA fighter. I don't expect him to succeed. He'll probably get his ass kicked, but I'm excited to see it. And he's writing comic books now too, and you can be fans. You can be a fan of him for that. From what I've seen personally, the Bella's genuine fans are a pretty small minority. Yeah, that's what I've always figured. I think WWE kind of wants them to have this huge fan base, and then make it out that they have a huge fan base with like the hashtag Bella Army and all that shit. But from what I've seen, their fan base is completely made up. Well, I mean, not completely, but to a large extent, it's made up. It's just something. It's completely artificial. Like they want us to perceive them as bigger stars than they are because they're on the reality show, and because they were of who they're dating / married to. Okay, get your last couple of questions in here because I'd like to wrap this up in a minute or two. Which wrestler in WCW could you not stand? Hulk Hogan. Couldn't stand him. WCW. Could not fucking stand him. Poor Paige, what did she ever do to deserve this kind of treatment? What? Losing one match to Summer Rae? It's not like It's not like one loss to Summer Rae is going to kill her career. It was an upset victory for Summer. I was surprised. It came out of fucking nowhere. I was like, what the hell just happened? It's not going to kill Paige. I mean, she can recover from one loss. I mean, she can eat a loss to Summer Rae and it's not going to kill her. And the penis power trend to me is worse than New Day, and trust me, I'm not saying this as a New Day fan. Okay. Do you think WWE needs to fire Eva Marie? I would like it if they did. They seem to see something in her. I don't know why. Of course, I haven't really spared Eva Marie a single thought in a while. To me, New Day is no different than any other bullshit progressive gimmick or shuck and jive black stereotypical gimmick, except it's both plus PG. I think they've thrown enough enough stuff in there to differentiate themselves from other such gimmicks. I think they're proving themselves to be pretty entertaining guys in their own right. Plus, they haven't really done that. They've kind of abandoned the shuck and jive thing. They're not like dancing really. They do other stuff, sure, but I mean, there are differences there. How long would it take for people to leave the home bandwagon? Oh, that's anyone's guess. Ask me after we see how our next fight goes. Okay, I'm putting the cutoff point in now. So get your final questions in. Then we can think about wrapping this up. That said, if any of the New Day members pulled a 180 and denounced the gimmick, I'd probably like them again. Joe has just completely lost stock with me, and I didn't like him much even before this. Oh, Joey. All right. Okay. But I don't know why the New Day members would pull a 180 at this point, since the gimmick is what's gotten them over. And clearly a lot of people are liking it. Okay. All right. There we go. I'm going to answer these last couple questions, and then we can call it a night. In WCW, there were tons of face-palming announcing. In my opinion, Mark Madden made the announcing entertaining to a point. You know, I'm apparently one of the few people who actually liked Mark Madden as an announcer. Okay, I understood the criticisms of the guy, but damn it, the guy was entertaining. He was witty and funny, and those were things that were in very short supply in WCW at that time. I actually liked Madden as an announcer. I'd take Mark Madden over Mike Tenay, I'll tell you that. No offense to Mike Tenay, but at least Madden had a personality. In turn, with Stephanie out of power is for Triple H to also be out of power to make it work. And that's why they won't do it. Thanks for reminding me that if Stephanie exists, guys. Let me put it this way. If Stephanie versus Peggy Carter was a thing, I'd take Peggy Super Cena-ing her in a heartbeat. Yeah, I would too. Do you have the Drax comic made by Punk? No. No, I'm not really interested in a Drax solo title. Just not really my cup of tea. The only fans the Bellas have are teenagers and divorced men. Alright. Except for not beating people up herself, Stephanie embodies everything some of us may dislike about Peggy at least threefold. Except not physically. Not physically beating people up, right? Do you find Lex Luger to be very overrated? Overrated? I wouldn't say overrated. Because Lex Luger kind of sucked. I have not encountered many people who thought he was any good. I wouldn't say he's overrated because most people I know think he just wasn't very good. I think he meant Paige's losing streak. Oh, alright. And there could be any number of reasons for that. I'm more concerned with the fact that she was a heel who attacked Natty backstage and put her out for months, and then when they come back, they're both baby faces and they like each other again for some reason. With no explanation. Other than, the reality show is back, so we need to have them getting along for some reason. That pissed me off more than anything. I mean, Paige losing matches, I can deal with that. But fucked up creative, that pisses me off. People still rate Lex Luger? Yeah, I don't get it either. I haven't thought about that dude in years. He hasn't wrestled in years either. Let it go. WWE this summer is doing some Cruiserweight special on the network. Is that a sign that they could bring in a Cruiserweight title? Bring back the Cruiserweight title? Probably not on the main show. Maybe on this Cruiserweight special. I don't know if that's going to be a regular show. I heard it was going to be like a mini-series type of thing. Bring back the Cruiserweight title? I doubt it. As for the home bandwagon, it dies when she loses next. Yeah, that's part of the curiosity, I think, because I think Holly Holm's still undefeated, right? Yeah, right now she's got that mystique from being undefeated and being the person to take down Rousey. As soon as she takes her first loss, that's going to go away, I think. And I don't know if she's got the looks or the admitted charisma that Rousey has to captivate people in that regard. So I don't know if she's going to have have a ton of staying power, but we'll see. As long as she stays undefeated, she's probably in good shape, though. And that is going to do it for tonight. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Had a lot of fun. Good stream tonight. Look for the Impact review on Saturday sometime in the afternoon. And come back next Thursday. We can do this all again. Will Legends of Tomorrow start getting their shit together now that the season is almost half over? I don't know. I guess we'll see. I also think we got another 2 episodes of Agent Carter on Tuesday as well. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot to talk about. All right, so I will see you on Saturday and again on Thursday. So I will talk to you then. Until then, good night.